Hello YouTube, how you guys doing today? So today we're answering a question that I get all the time on streams, which you guys should come down to because you can earn free Warframes, weapons, and mods and stuff. Ask me about that when you get here. The question is, Neo, how much plat should I save in order to, I guess, like flip items? Like how much of my plat should I not use for flipping items? And how much should I invest into flipping items? And we're going to answer that question. I'm going to give you guys a couple of food for thought here. So the quickest answer is that that's on you. Like, that's totally up to you and where you are in the game. I'll give you some things to consider to help figure out and make it make sense for you. But ultimately, what is really important in this game and what's not really important? Well, what I'd say is really important are like the slots, right? Like the Warframe slots, the weapon slots. That's really the most important thing. So Warframe slot is like 20 platinum. There, at the time of making this video, if you're trying to collect every single Warframe and every single vanilla frame in the game, like every prime frame and every vanilla frame in the game, then you're looking at about 1600 plat for those Warframe slots, approximately. And that's, you know, like only going to grow over time. It's probably going to grow by like 80 every year moving forward. No, double that. So let's say 4 prime frames a year and 4 vanilla frames a year if they keep on with the averages that they've been doing for the last few years. That's an extra 160 platinum a year, and it's not going to drop all at once. So, you know, you guys can like keep that in mind. Another thing, what else is important that you guys are going to want to be spending platinum on, or that you could spend platinum on, but could also kind of farm this in the game too, is Forma. And ideally what you guys are going to want to do really is get Forma bundles, which are like 35 platinum a piece. But this is if you're not going to farm them out in the game if you don't already have a bunch saved up. Like, this is another thing I could see you kind of buying, you know, like using your platinum for that might be an emergency related thing for upgrading your weapons or Warframes or whatever. But literally everything else that you guys could possibly get in the game, most of it's all cosmetic related. And I can't really see having an emergency fund for like, uh-oh, this update's coming out. I'm going to have to save like 1,000 platinum just in case of something cool that I want. Like, I wouldn't say that's an emergency per se, but it is kind of a nice spot to be in. What I'd recommend is, let's say you have less than 100 platinum. What should you do? Well, you potentially really could be flipping all of that, because if you're spending, and here's the recommendation, if you're going to flip that on small items like corrupted mods, which are pretty easy to sell, like let's say you buy some corrupted mods off the market for 10 or 15 plat, like the Warframe.market, right? Blind Rage is one of them, let's say you buy like one of these, transient fortitude, heavy caliber, fleeting expertise, overextended, critical delay, critical deceleration. Like any of the mods I just listed, they're all corrupted and they're really good sellers. Let's say you spend 10, 15 plat, get it off somebody from the Warframe.market, and then you come back in game and you move it for 30, 35 plat, which is totally doable. Now you're flipping, like now you're making platinum back, and ultimately what you could do is just do that a whole bunch of times until now you've kicked yourself up into like, now you have 100 to 200 platinum. At that point, what do? I would say at that point, put 100 aside. Now you have 5 Warframe slots. You have some, you know, like 5 Warframe slots if you need all of a sudden 5 of them. You maybe have some, you know, you could use some of that for doing weapon slots as well. And then use the other 100 that you have to keep flipping, you know, like these mods or something like that. And these aren't the only things you could be flipping. You guys could literally you could probably find off the market like real devious licks. You probably could find like, I don't know, Orthos sets or like Burst and Bratton sets, stuff like that for like 5, 10 platinum a set, and then you can turn around and sell it for like 20 in the game if you wanted. That's totally fine, that works. So it's not just the mods, but like just, you guys got to start looking like and pay attention to the market, like literally an in-game chat or whatever. Just like kind of pull up trade chat and see what's happening. Like see what people are like wanting to buy or wanting to sell things for. And it'll kind of help give you an idea. Now, here's important thing to note, though. Like, when you're looking at people, like, just because somebody wants to buy something and they put a price in, that doesn't mean it's going to happen. It doesn't mean their price isn't ridiculous or somebody is actually going to do that. And same thing with somebody wanting to sell something. Just because you see somebody wanting to sell at a certain price, doesn't mean the price is true. It could be a very ridiculous price, and that could possibly just be them sitting here for weeks and never actually getting it for that. So the more you look at this, the more you'll start to realize what's averaging out. You You know, just because you see a whole bunch of people trying to sell or buy something for a certain price doesn't mean they're actually getting those sales. It doesn't mean that it's actually happening. And one thing to keep in mind is there's two types of people in trade chat. Somebody that, for example, here wants to buy one thing. So he wants to buy this thing for 40 platinum. Now, if we see him here over and over and over again for hours in trade chat, and he's still wanting to buy this one thing for 40 platinum, it probably means nobody's selling it to him. There's potentially, it means that somebody, it potentially means he has a lot of plat and he's just trying to collect a lot of these. But it also potentially means that, like, if we see him over and over again, nobody's going to sell him this for 40 platinum. So if we see him wanting to buy something and he's got a price in here and you see him for over and over for hours and hours, there is a likelihood that people don't want to do that. Like, it's worth more, it's worth less, whatever it is. So you gotta kind of keep an open mind when you're in trade chat, and as long as you're being open-minded about it, you'll be able to figure stuff out. The next thing we'll say is, like, let's say you got 500 plat, 500 to 1,000 platinum. What do I think you should do with that? Maybe put like half of that aside for like emergency situations. Now you can get more Warframe slots, more weapon slots, more bundles. And keep in mind, like, once you have all of your Warframe slots and weapon slots, you're done with that. Like, you probably won't need as much platinum sitting around. Like, any other platinum that you wouldn't want to reinvest into the game would really just be like, probably for cosmetic reasons, or like maybe you want to buy Riven slots, or you need to buy like companion slots or stuff like that. But like, sooner or later, you guys will catch up and you'll have all those slots, and you won't really need to have that much platinum sitting on the side, and you could probably reinvest a lot more. But hopefully by that time, you guys are in like the thousands of platinum, so it's not something that, you know, you're gonna have to like stress too hard about. But okay, when you're in the 500 to 1,000 range, now what should you be flipping? Well, now you can get away from mods, because ultimately, if you got 5 to 1,000 platinum, you don't really need to worry about the mods anymore. What you can do is you can start getting Warframes and weapons. And like I said about the mods, or with the other things, pay attention to trade chat, and you'll get an idea as to what things are worth. You could also go to warframe.market, and you could search specific items and see what those are going for. And the prices on Warframe Market are all over the place. There's a lot of highs, there's a lot of lows, a lot of in-betweens. It's everywhere. So you'll be able to get an idea as to like, oh wow, this is selling really, like, people are selling this really low, but then there's also a bunch of people. What I recommend you guys look at when you're looking at the Warframe market is look at all the lows. Like, average out what the lowest is. Don't look at the lowest, but average out what the top 10 to 20 lowest prices are. Find the average of that, and then in your mind, note that. Then try to find the next 10 to 20 average prices and figure out what that average is. And there you'll have a margin. You'll have like a gap. So that means you can buy for somewhere around the low, and then you'll be able to turn around and easily sell in the game, depending on what the item is. When I say easily, it depends on what it is, but you'll be able to sell it in the game for whatever at least the medium is, if not higher. And now you're making even more platinum, most likely, than you are making, let's say, the 15 or 20 you were making off of buying the mods off the market, like the ones I mentioned earlier in the video. So the more platinum you have to invest, the more platinum you could make back. And a lot of, like, there's another level of investments that I kind of want to go over here with you guys. And it's basically this. It's like, okay, so we went over two different styles. One style is you have your, like, emergency funds, like for Warframe slots, weapon slots. Another style, and then the other half of that is you're reinvesting. But when you have all your emergency things, like when you have all the Foreman, when you have loads of it, when you have all the weapon slots, Warframe slots, does it make sense for you to have your platinum sitting in an emergency savings account, like right here up at the top of your screen? No, instead, and actually it doesn't make sense for me to be doing this either. What actually does make sense is for you to, I mean, unless you're doing what I'm doing, which is like you have a store and you're like giving people free stuff on Warframe and all that. So like I'm on a different game plan, but if you don't have a store, if you're not a streamer, don't worry about it. This is what you would be smart for you to do. Take a lot of the platinum that you have, reinvest it into Warframes that are about to get vaulted, and hold on to them for a year or two. It's not exaggeration. Like, literally a year or two. I mean, think about it. Most of you are going to play this game for months and months and months, and then you're going to go through a little burnout. You're going to stop playing it. And then you'll come back and you'll be like, oh, cool. I have all these sets that I farmed out. They're vaulted now. They're worth more plat. So, like, waiting a year or two seems like a long time, but most of you are going to go through that, and you're going to wind up making it that far. So, at the end of the day, if you have all your Warframe slots, all your weapon slots, most of your platinum that you like that you would have, I don't know, saved or sat on the side or whatever, you can put it into investments. Investments in the game is, like I said, buying warframes, weapons, things that are about to get vaulted, because that's when they're really cheap. And then after a year or two, they're going to be a lot more. They're going to be worth a lot more because they haven't been farmable for a year or two. So there's not any more of them coming into the game. And most of the ones that are being sold are getting built by new players that don't have that warframe or weapon. So that means the supply is going down and ultimately the demand is going up. And it's just a good investment for those of you that are, let's say, past the point of needing warframe slots, weapon slots. I know that was really helpful for a lot of you newer players, but if you found this video helpful, be sure to leave a like, subscribe, turn notifications on. Absolutely appreciate your faces. Thank you everybody so much for hanging out. Got loads more videos on this YouTube channel if you're new to the game, or even if you've been around a while. Surf the channel. Got lots of plat related things, lots of walkthroughs and guides. And I'm live every day on Twitch. You guys can stop by, ask me questions, and I would love to see you guys here. Thank you everybody so much for watching this video. Hopefully you're having an awesome night, day, whatever time it is. Absolutely love your faces, and I will see you guys in the next one.